In today's video, I'm going to be talking about Iamhandy.org and some of the updates and changes that have been made to it. So stay tuned. Okay, so if you've been following the channel for a while, you may have seen a previous video I made about this website that's called iamhandy.org or org. I made this website a while back as kind of a free resource for handymen and handy women, as a place to kind of get it all together without being sold something to. So the way that I created this website is very similar to the way that I created my handyman website, my Greenshire handyman website. I just used Google Sites. I bought a domain to basically build a website. So if you're interested in that kind of aspect of it, I'll put a link to a video on how to build something like that or something like this. But a very simple thing. This is a free website. I don't pay any money other than a domain name of about $6 a month. Other than that, I go in and make small tweaks. It's not a killer website by any means, but it serves a purpose that I'm trying to use here. So what I've done here is as I've evolved and changed as a handyman, I learned, right? I learned a lot of different things. I learned things about taxes. I learned things about estimating and banking and bookkeeping and marketing and software, all sorts of stuff. And as I went through that evolution, I was kind of keeping mentally note, oh, this is a good resource for this, or this is a good resource for that. So in my head, I've had this picture of this website in my head for a while. It actually looked a lot better in my head, but I have limited skills when it comes to building this kind of stuff. So what I've decided to do is just take all that stuff out of my head and kind of put it in one spot for my own purposes. And then for anybody else that's out there that may be in a similar spot that wants to, what's the best resource for software systems for handyman or making money on different jobs. I've kind of tried to put all the information I know into those different areas. So you'll see a little bit of description up here at the top. And just one note, if you're interested in adding anything to this website or just getting in touch with me in general, you can reach out to me here at aj@greenshirehandyman.com, or you can just leave a comment down below and I'll go from there. In addition to that, I have a Facebook group that I started. I'm not too active in here. Eventually, maybe I'll build that up. But the purpose of that Facebook group is to talk specifically to processes. How do you do this process or that process from a business perspective, not necessarily a DIY perspective, or how much should this job cost. We'll talk more about the process of estimating and some of the resources that are available there. And then, if you're watching this video, you're watching it on this YouTube channel. Anyway, I've put the links to the different areas that I've kind of consolidated information, either here at tabs up at the top or down here as buttons down at the bottom. And I made this video a little while back, a crowdsourced handyman website. But this is essentially an overview of the website that you're looking at. It may be a little bit dated because I haven't updated it in a while, but you get the point. But anyway, as I go through these different things, I'm just going to kind of touch on them a little bit, walk through them fairly quickly just to give you some insight to them. And if you want to come here and check stuff out, go ahead and do that. So the first thing I'll talk about is the Handyman Registry. I set this up for two reasons. Reason number one is a lot of handymen want to get in touch with other people in their area, or maybe they have family members across the country and they're trying to say, hey, does anybody know a handyman here or a handyman there? So I sent a feeler out to a bunch of the handymen on Facebook and said, hey, if anybody wants to sign up for this thing, well, I'll go ahead and I'll take your information. I'll put it into a website. I'll categorize it by the states or the countries that you live in. And then what I'll do is like I said, I'll categorize it. So if you're a handyman in Colorado, you tell me what state you're in. I'll put that information in there. You tell me your business name, and then you provide a link to your website if you have one. And this is really where I pay back to you. So what happens is if you have a website of any kind, one of the ways that you get ranked in Google is by how many backlinks or how many other websites are pointing to your website. So what this does is it's providing a backlink to your site. I'll show a little bit later on one of my other tabs how to check the backlinks, but it gives you credibility in terms of your ranking in Google. So that's kind of the twofold. One, getting in touch with people around you, and two, getting a boost to your handyman website. That's the main reason I created the registry. And if you're interested in joining the registry and want to have your business linked here, you can click here to open up a Google form. Then every week or two, I'll go and I'll look at the Google form, and I'll just go ahead and I'll update the registry with that information and send you an email. So the second thing is As I go across the top here, I've tried to add a little bit of verbiage, or mostly YouTube videos showing, okay, how are other folks out there making money? What kind of jobs are they doing? So these are some of the videos that I watched along the way, or videos that I've made along the way. So you'll see some familiar trends and themes here. There's a couple of big players in the handyman YouTube space, and a lot of their videos are really good. So I just go ahead and I put these videos in here, so you can kind of poke around here, get a sense of, how are people making big money on some of these jobs, and what are they doing, and then take that combined information from everybody's resources and come up with your own way of doing things. Another question I got a lot of is software systems. What are people using for this part of the system or for that part? The primary software systems that people are using are these customer relation management software systems, or CRMs. So you'll see a list here of the primary providers of those systems: Marquee, Jobber, House Call Pro, QuickBooks, Field Pulse. If you've been watching my videos, you know that I use Marquee, but there's a lot of people using Jabber right now and House Call Pro. I don't know too much about those systems, so that's why I've put links to other YouTubers that are making videos on there, so that you can kind of get a sense of the different ways that they're using these different systems. But anyway, there's ups. This is just kind of a starting place for you if you have questions on, what does it look like to use this system or that system. Next thing, moving into handyman businesses, is how do I create estimates? I'll leave a couple of notes here. The first one is, if you're not familiar with HomeWise, it's a kind of an open source, crowdsourced system for figuring out the cost of different jobs. If you haven't read Alan Lee's book on handyman pricing, I recommend that. It's basic, straightforward on how to set up your pricing in terms of your estimating. And then a bunch of videos, what are other people doing to estimate their jobs in their particular businesses. So you can go ahead and get a good start here by looking at that. The next one, moving on to banking and bookkeeping. Super important in terms of being solvent, in terms of making money, keeping money. My own particular journey, I started off with nothing, right? I started off as my personal bank account, which is a big no. But as you evolve, you say, oh, I need to have a business account. So I set up a business account at a local credit union, wasn't crazy about it. Then I switched over to a banking app called Novo. Can't say enough good things about Novo. I have a video down here kind of, talking about how I use Novo and what I use it for. It's been a huge game changer for me. But you also see other ways of how people are managing money, and what do they recommend in terms of banking and bookkeeping. A lot of players in the handyman space use QuickBooks. I did use QuickBooks for a little while. I wasn't a huge fan of it, and so I just got rid of it. And now I just use Novo exclusively. But it's not for everybody. It's more for if you're a single player, small operation, it will work for you. If you have a huge operation going, you got to go to QuickBooks or something. There's really no getting around that. And as we go on, the other topics that I cover are marketing your business, a couple different ideas on things you should do or could do to market your business. This is where that backlink that I was talking about before with the Handyman Registry, if you want to increase the clout of your website, one way to do it is to have backlinks. And this is a quick overview of, if you join the Handyman Registry, how to check your backlink and the clout of your website. You don't have to join the Handyman Registry. It's just a bump up. But here's an overview video on that. In addition to that, you see videos down here on how various different people are using marketing techniques. Me personally, I use a combination somewhere down here of Facebook, Nextdoor, and Google to do my marketing. I don't do any paid advertising just because as a one-man operation, I don't need to. This gets me more than enough work, and this is the process that I use, and it works pretty well for me. Moving down the line, another area is technical training. So you've heard me say this in other videos. If you're not handy, you probably shouldn't be a handyman. But if you're not handy and you're like, screw this guy, I'm going to become a handyman anyway, more power to you, right? But learn, right? Go out there and teach yourself. So you'll see here, there's a couple different links in here that I found along the way. That's one I found out recently, this thing called Classit, which is pretty interesting. I think, I can't remember, some podcast I heard about that. This is another great resource, Teach Construction Community. I think this is his own YouTube channel. Me personally, I like to try to go to This Old House. If I can find it on This Old House and I watch the videos, to me, I have a lot of faith in those guys. So I like that. I enjoy watching Jeff from Home Rental Vision. He's got a great sense of humor, and the way he goes over things are pretty good. Then as you scroll down the line, you'll see some other guys. Drywall, Paul Peck. He's the guy I follow. In fact, I followed him so much I realized I shouldn't be doing drywall. because it really is an art and a skill, and I hate it. But if I had to do drywall, I go and I pull up Paul's videos and I teach myself some of that stuff. And then finally, moving down the line, I've already touched on it already, but there's several YouTubers out there in the handyman space that cater to kind of different niches. I kind of cater to the part-time single man operation. Bulletproof here, he caters to those who are going after property managers, and then there's the handyman goes after bigger, higher paying clients, and so on and so on. But just a quick list of some of the YouTube channels that are out there if you're not already familiar with them. Finally, moving down, there's a couple of podcasts out there. One of them is the Handyman Success Podcast, the Handyman Pros Radio Show. I've actually been a guest on this one with Larry and John. Shout out to them. They've been doing handyman podcasting for quite a while. So great podcast. And there's a few other here that I threw on. And then finally, the great topic to end on, I guess, is taxes. So if you're new to this, or if you've been doing this for a while and you don't have a clue on taxes, and you're like, I'm just going to let my CPA do everything, that's fine. But I would say educate yourself. I would recommend getting the book that you see here that I have up there and that I have next to me as well. This will give you an overview of what you can deduct and what you can't deduct. I think this is a link over to Amazon. It's not an affiliated link. I don't get paid for it, but great book. You can go to the library and pick this book up as well. And this author, Bernard Kamaroff, also has another one. I think it's called Small Time Operator, just getting started in any type of business. Really great read to get you kind of started and then moving on from there. In addition to that, there's some other basics that I've added in here as well. Some things you might want to understand. Questions always pop up. How do you pay yourself as a handyman? And then other tax tips that I've either found along the way or I found and then I've catered to the handyman community. So how do I make tax filing a little bit easier? It goes back to Novo. I categorize things throughout the year. How do you pay your taxes? If you don't know how to do this, you got to pay your estimated taxes quarterly, but how do you do that, right? There's videos out there, generic videos out there to do it. I give a little bit of a handyman spin to it. So how do I do it as a handyman? What do I do? And then some other videos in here as well. Anyway, I said it was going to be a short video. It's rounding up to about 13, 14 minutes. But anyway, it's just a quick resource. If you're curious, just go ahead and poke around here. Send me an email or leave a comment. Hey, can you add this? Can you add this? This is great. That sucks. You suck. Like whatever you want to put in there. Go ahead and put it in there. Let me know. I do this because I enjoy helping people out. I like learning things and I like sharing my knowledge with other people. So if you get any value out of what I present here or what I share, you can go ahead and give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Let me know, hey, this video is good or it's not good. Your audio sucks. I've been getting that comment a lot lately and I'm trying to work on it. But just go ahead and let me know if you have any feedback for me and stay tuned for the next video. I appreciate your time and take care.